occasionally you'll run across somebody that's a first time home buyer, and they'll have a story. Everybody has a story, but they'll have a story that hits me in the feels, I guess.
Right.
I can think of single moms with orphan children, or without a father. And um I've had the privilege of writing those loans a couple of times, and finding.
Hey, 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 we are live. Welcome to Loan Officer Growth Podcast, the podcast that helps loan officers grow and have more freedom. Today is a special treat. We have Nathan Carver. He's a loan officer with, I think you're with Success Mortgage Partners, right?
That's correct.
Yep. And he is known for the art of gifting. So hopefully we'll talk a little bit about that today. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Richard. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you bet. Awesome. Awesome. You want to, I guess, do you want to start and tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the business and kind of your path?
Yeah, retired out of the Army, and wasn't sure what to do with my life, so I Ubered for about 3.5 years. I was an Uber driver. Met a guy, one of my passengers ended up owning a bank, and he was interviewing me on a 45-minute ride, and he's like, you
Wow.
know what, you need to get your mortgage license, come work for me, and or work with me. And about 45 days later, I called him up. I was like, I've got my license, you remember me?
That's
And
awesome.
that was 4 years ago. And I got into the refi boom, about the middle of that, and enjoyed that. And then
Yep.
when the market transitioned, I decided I was going to stick it out. I love this business, and I love what we do, in helping people to get homes and manage their finances. And I was like, I'm gonna figure out a way to do this. So that's where I'm
Nice.
at.
Very cool. Yeah. So what is your what's your passion? What do you love? What do you absolutely love about this business and what you're doing?
Oh, so occasionally you'll run across somebody that's a first time home buyer, and they'll have a story. Everybody has a story, but they'll have a story that hits me in the feels, I guess.
Right.
I can think of single moms with orphan children, or without a father. And um, I've had the privilege of writing those loans a couple of times, and finding you run across somebody that has they've hit the roadblock of no so many times that they're about to give up on
Wow.
finding a
Yeah.
house. And what it may be is that they don't have a clear mortgage plan on how to get to owning a home. And you know laying that out for them, and maybe it takes 6 months or 12 months or 18 months to get there, but if they have a plan, who cares how long it takes, as long
Right.
as the end goal is home ownership, which in America is still the number one um, path to long-term uh, income and wealth accumulation for a family. um, Laying that out for them and keeping them encouraged, that means a lot to me. You gain a lot of real meaningful relationships out of that with home buyers, and
Yeah.
ultimately they become friends, colleagues. um that's probably my biggest one, that I really do love those when those come along. And I really do love the easy loans.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of those too, but they don't,
Love it.
get them. So yeah, those are like pinnacle moments in the process that I really enjoy. And I celebrate every house that we close.
Right.
Move in day, that's a big event. And when someone gets to close and move into a home. So that's why I do the
Very
gifting
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love it, man. So why don't you tell us, like, right now, the industry, there's a lot of people that are doing worse today than they did before. And
Hmm.
they're struggling, a lot of people. But you've actually, as the months have gone throughout this year, you're actually increasing your business month to month, right?
That's right.
So, and you're probably going to close double digits in September and October. That's
Yes.
huge, man. So what are you doing different than, a lot of loan officers out there that are struggling? What are you doing different right now?
Okay. So I follow Mortgage Marketing Animals, their coaching, and I have their design conversations, their scripts.
Yep.
Um, I stick to a regiment, a process Monday through Friday on activity that I'm doing. And it's calls, it's outbound sales activity, calls to qualified real estate agents. I do that 4 times a week for 2 hours.
Oh,
In
wow. Yeah.
addition to, yeah, I do my other call activities like reaching out to past clients, updating my current clients. I do those activities also. Um, but as soon as I finish that, I transition over to calling my qualified real estate agents list. Um, I got a list of 1,500 that I'm working through, and I'm averaging 1,000, 1,150 of those calls every month.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, and that breaks down, divide it by third, or break it down. It's not all in one. It's not a. I'm not
Right.
trying to eat the elephant all in one sitting. Uh, so it ends up being pretty manageable amount of calls every day. And then on Fridays, I use as my backup. If I don't get all my calls that week, I will get them done Friday. So
Right.
I will hit the number. And for me, it's 173 is the minimum outbound calls I make every week.
Week.
That's the minimum.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and I'll go past that, but as bare minimum, that's the number I need to hit every week because the ratios and ultimately the goal is to have like 7 kept real estate agent appointments. So I pursue that, and I just keep calling until I get those appointments set.
Nice.
11 set appointments, and for me, 7 kept. That's my target for the goal that I'm working towards. Um, I'm consistent on that, and I've been doing that. I started ramping this up in January, really, and doing course corrections about every 90 days with my coach,
Yep.
and just really dialing in on my daily activities, and definitely my outbound call activity. 100% is where I would attribute my business growth, and I think everything else I do stems from that. Because I do gifting, coffee meetups. I try go deeper with my real estate agent partners,
Right.
and part of that is what I do in gifts. So like I have a honey farm, and so I have, as a hobby, but I've turned that into a small business and produce that and give that out as a gift whenever I meet up with real estate agents, and I send it out again whenever we close on a loan, um, and celebrate the welcome home. So I'm looking for touch points with my real estate agent partners and our homeowners, and to celebrate life and doing life with them. And I look at,
Nice.
um, I try to keep notes of what it is they're interested in. Um, and then do things that fit what they get excited about. Whether it's sports or some outdoor recreational thing, there's ways. I
Right.
mean, there's really inexpensive things you can do, or no cost things you can do to help celebrate the things that they find meaningful in their lives. Um, so I have the scripts, and then beyond the scripts, I just apply. I say, be yourself, is your authentic you,
Yeah.
and people that you're going to work with will gravitate to you and you to them, because you're just your authentic, your natural authentic self, right?
Definitely.
That's where I'm at on that. Yeah.
So I like that because you made a key point that you kind of talked about is the word consistency, because
Mm-hmm.
you're consistently making those calls, not just 1 week and then take a week off, or I'll start making my calls on Monday. We hear all the different excuses. We've all made them, I think, too. At least I have. And that, I think that's the key, is how many calls you need to make consistently, and that's the minimum. So you're going to hit above that, it, as long as you still have time in your time blocks, which is huge. And then if you
Mm-hmm.
don't hit your numbers, you're going to be calling on Friday, where normally if you do, you can take Fridays off from calls. So I love that you're being consistent with that, because I don't know if you ever heard this, but they say they did a study, and the average salesperson makes 15 minutes of outbound calls a month. That's the average.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I
it's
did not know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so you're making minimum 2 hours a day, and you're calling your realtors, you're calling your borrowers. And then on top of that, you're going so much deeper with your agent partners, and not even partners, just agents that you're meeting with, and you're giving them something of value. And we've heard it. It's not what you give. It is what you give, but you're making sure two things. One, you're giving honey, which that's kind of like your business card, right?
Mhm.
And then you're letting them know you care enough to give them that. But then two, you also think about a gift that has meaning to them, the agent or the borrower. And that shows them that you listen and you care. And so that's huge, man. Do you want to talk a little bit more about like some of the gifting, some of the things that you do, or how you approach it and kind of the process?
Sure. So, um, this starts at the very first conversation I have with them. You're either setting a coffee appointment or a Zoom or a phone call. And that conversation for me is 100% a frog, friends, recreation, occupation, goals. And I'm asking probing questions into those four areas, um, and looking for their response. And you can tell, like, if you're face to face with them, how they light up when they get to talking about,
Right.
you know, what their goal in real estate as a real estate agent is. I do this with the homeowners. Hey, what's your goal? Is it a pool with a backyard, or a house with a backyard and a pool, or is it a condo? What's the why to do that? Because maybe they want a townhome because they don't want a yard, because they want to travel. And maybe got a goal of going to Santorini, Greece someday. So I will write that down. And every time I'm talking to that home buyer, and in the future, when we're looking at refis and any touch point with them, like, hey, have you gone to Greece yet? How much closer are you to that goal? Right.
Yeah.
And and that sparks a genuine, for the response there is that they see that you genuinely care about what it is their wish is, or their dream is. And it's just as simple, could be as kids are going off to college in 4 years. Oh yeah, well, what school do they want to go to? We're looking A&M, Texas A&M right now. Well, Texas A&M has a lot of swag, and so
Yeah.
there's opportunities there for you to celebrate that journey with them. Same for your real estate agents. Whenever whenever I'm having that initial coffee or Zoom with them, and I can figure out, if I find out they love fishing, this is a good one for me because I enjoy fishing too. But if I can have that conversation with them, but let's say, okay, so I know that I'm going to be going over to Bass Pro Shop at some point in the next 30 days easily, and then I'll pick up a lure and send it to them. Hey, and throw that in a box with a quick note on it. Hey, thinking about you. Hope you have a great trip fishing sometime soon. Let me know what you catch with this lure. So that invokes a response back from them, because they'll tell you. Everybody
Right.
likes to brag about what they're achieving. And it comes down to understanding what their key interests are and goals in real estate, in their personal life, and tying that achievement of closing a deal with them. Case in point, close a deal last week with a real estate agent. She is wanting to go on a vacation, take her family on a vacation. And I was like, hey, we closed this deal. Have fun on your next vacation. And that was just a nice card. Counts. It's a gift.
Yep.
A handwritten card is a gift. And I count those as gifts, and I don't
Definitely.
pass up an opportunity to send up a card. But that's the price of a stamp. So, and then it creates a nice little touch point. So I'll look for those in the conversations that I have with them. And as those relationships develop, their goals are going to change, or they may open up and give you deeper meanings to why they're pursuing a certain thing,
Right.
or why they got into real estate. And then, I just keep a record of all of that. I'll write it down as soon as I get back into my car. As soon as we get off a call or a Zoom, I'll write it down in my cheat sheet for them,
Nice.
so I don't forget. And anytime I talk to them, I just bring that up, and that information is right there, readily available to talk about. It always gives you something to talk about with real estate. And a lot of times if it's not during your blocked outbound call sales activity, when you're talking to a real estate agent, it gives them something you can pick their brain about. And next thing you know, you've developed a relationship deeper. That's not just about closing loans, but you become, end of the day, you have a colleague that's you have a meaningful relationship with, and you're closing loans with them.
It's more like
And
friendships.
for me, my personal goal is I have built and am building and will continue to build my mortgage business. I want to work with real estate agents. I want to have real estate agent partners that I know, like, and trust, that know, like, and trust me, and we're going in the same direction in life. It doesn't mean we agree on everything,
Right.
but we know that we're good people, and we can count on each other, and I want to earn that in them, and they earn that in me. And it's been wonderfully rewarding. Just had lunch Saturday with the real estate agent who gave me my first loan on a purchase side, and she's building a house. I have that loan coming. That one's coming, or she will be building a house. She's got the land, and they're doing some stuff to prep, but they're going to be building a house. Just got to take her and her husband out for a lunch on Saturday and catch up, and just talk life. We maybe had a 5-minute conversation about real estate, and the rest of the time we were just talking life.
Perfect.
And and it's wonderful. And I'm like, this, looking across the table, these are people that have become friends, and I thoroughly enjoy that.
Yeah. And you're
And have
being
some deals
yourself.
with them.
That's the key. You're being yourself and not trying to, not, a lot of times we go into things as a strategy, but you've got to be yourself. And that's what you're doing. Another thing you hit on that I think is really, really powerful is when you sent over the lure, let's say, what were the words you said? Hey, I was thinking about you. And
Mhm.
people just, number one, they love the fact that you thought about them and that you care enough to send them something, but even those words are powerful.
Right.
It's kind of like when you're making outbound past client phone calls, a lot of people have a database that they're like, I think someone brought up the fact that I hadn't talked to these people in 14 years. And it happens, we forget our old database. And that's the one script that has worked better than anything else I've ever used. Is they answer the phone and you say, "Hey, I was thinking about you and I wanted to call and say hi." And people are just blown away by that. And they don't get mad that you haven't called in 14 years.
Yeah.
They're happy that you called and you thought about them.
Yeah. It resets everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've been learning that past client database Wednesday. Well, today. Yeah. And so I put in my entire personal contact list into my Wednesday calls.
Nice.
And yeah. And so it's brought me refis. It's brought me, hey, I got a friend that's looking to buy a house. It's brought me referrals.
Right.
It's also forced me to reconnect with people that I know, that I haven't been in contact with. And none of them have been upset with me,
right,
for any gap in our relationship. We're just excited that you were thinking about them right then and move forward. So yeah, that's been a nice benefit too. So
that's awesome. That's so cool, man. Our time is flying by. Are you, I've got one last question for you. Was there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
I think you've got it covered. I think you did.
Okay.
Yeah. With gifting, I'm like, look for touch points with your real estate agent partners and your homeowners and your past client database. Look for those touch points. They don't have to be extravagant, genuine,
Right.
I was thinking about you, and go from there.
What would you say, what words of encouragement do you have for loan officers today, kind of being in the current times that we're in? What words of encouragement do you have?
We are in an industry where we get to really decide our own paycheck, and it can be as little or as big as you want it to be. You have to work that, and both take effort. If you want a small paycheck, it takes a lot of effort to do that. And I guess whatever the market's doing, it could help you get there.
Yeah.
But if you focus on what you have control over, and that's your phone and your ability to dial the next person, and your attitude, and you'll be okay. You'll be better than okay. You just told me 15 is the number the average salesperson is calling a month. If you just block off 2 hours a day, take a 10-minute break every 50 minutes, you can definitely make more than 15 calls in a day. I mean, you can get in a lot of calls, and it's the activity. Don't focus on the results. Just focus on the activity.
Love that.
And the numbers will happen. The numbers game, law, dynamics, it'll happen. And it just, I think that's it. I think that's it. You focus on the activity. Yeah, I would say that. Focus on the activity.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. Well, brother, I really appreciate you being on and hearing your words of wisdom. It's been fun, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Richard. And I'll see. Are you going to the boot camp next month?
Oh yeah. Yep. Are you going?
Right. I am. I just booked my flight last night. So
cool. So I'll see you in less than 30 days, right?
Less than 30 days.
Awesome. All right, man. Yep. Thank you so much again. And I appreciate you. And we'll talk to you guys next week on the next episode.